Well, good evening and welcome. This is pjnet.tv. As we get started, this will be an abbreviated session. As many of you know, Hurricane Ian wreaked havoc in the area in which our guest, Andy Clapp, resides. And Andy, things have just not been the same since the hurricane, internet-wise.
No, we've had internet trouble ever since, and I've been scrambling around trying to get it connected tonight. And yeah, ever since that hurricane blew through, we went a few days without any internet at all here at our house, and we've been having some connectivity issues and having to reset. I don't know what I was going with it, but hopefully it will hold up, Coach. That's what we're
Okay.
praying for.
Well, if it blinks out, we'll just have to live with it the way it is and bear with it. And I wanted to take a moment to congratulate you on your team, Wake Forest. I saw an evenly matched two teams, Wake Forest and FSU, but Wake Forest played consistently, FSU did not, and Wake Forest put a whipping on us.
Well, we were thankful to get out with a win. How about that? To be honest with you, that one made us nervous because we had just had to let down against Clemson
Mhm.
the week prior. I mean, the Deeks had Clemson in the crosshairs, and they dropped that one, and I thought, man, Florida State's going to end up being a letdown. But even if they'd have went down to Florida State, I could have lived with that because I do love the Noles too.
Well, Wake Forest absolutely needed that game, but FSU did not. If Wake Forest would have fell that week, I mean the conference would be, well, they'd just be out of it. So at
Yeah,
least they won a conference game, and that keeps them in hopes, and motivation keeps us going.
that's
Andy,
right.
today's Columbus Day. I didn't realize that until I went to the post office.
I didn't I didn't know it was Columbus Day till I heard it on TV a few hours ago. I was like, wow, I didn't even realize it.
How much time do we as a culture spend contemplating what things would have been like would not Columbus had he didn't technically discover the United States of America. He landed in the island of Hispaniola, which is the Dominican Republic in Haiti, but he certainly
Yeah,
discovered the Western Hemisphere. And one of the best sermons I ever heard, Andy, was it was actually a Methodist preacher that was visiting in a Baptist church, and he was preaching, and Columbus was looking for that trade route to India, to the eastern, and this pastor made a point that you know some a group of people set out seeking gold, another group, and they landed basically in the Middle America, South America. Another group later set sail seeking God. And look at the difference how things turned out.
ain't that right? The Bible tells us that we will find God if we seek Him with all of our heart. And I was preaching Sunday morning. We was talking about the life that God offers us based on Psalm 23. Uh, that's not a pie in the sky view of life. That what David wrote in Psalm 23 is actually attainable. But you know what that one begins with, Coach? Psalm 23, verse 1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
Want.
If you read it in the Holman Christian Standard, it says, there is nothing that I lack. And I was telling our church Sunday that Christianity in America is one of the hardest things in the world because we are the most uncontent people, most discontent people, but we have the greatest, most enormous blessings of pretty much any people on earth. And, when we get to the place that we have that relationship with Jesus rather than just simple religion, it's then that our wants change. Instead of wanting more of the world or wanting more gold, we want more of the Lord, and what we have is more than enough. And that's something we're trying to teach our kids. Because I got a 10, 8, and a 2-year-old. Now, 2-year-old, we ain't teaching much going on there right now. Uh, it's mine, me, and we're working on that. But my 10-year-old, my 8-year-old, it's teaching them how to be content in Christ, not in what you have, but in who you are and in who you have. And when we set out on a journey to find God, we'll find Him. You'll find Him, and you'll find more fulfillment in that. That's what David would say in Psalm 23. My cup overflows. He didn't say I own all the world. He said, but I got the one who created the world.
Well, Andy, on another subject, those are
Yeah.
great thoughts. Hurricane Ian
Mm.
devastated Florida, that's for sure, and certainly wreaked its fair share of havoc in your area. But
Mm.
how did it do for book sales on your book, Eye of the Storm?
I, I don't really know, but I'm pretty sure it sold a few. it uh, it was kind of ironic. And then I heard a Franklin Graham ad today that Franklin Graham's running an ad right now about this hurricane season, and you know that Jesus is our hope in the storm. And I thought, man, I just wish Franklin would hold up a copy of that book when he did that commercial. It'd be amazing.
Good luck on that, Andy.
But Franklin, if you're watching,
Yeah, I'm sure he's riveted to the screen. For the longest time, Franklin Graham's Twitter account, he never tweeted for years and years and years. And he had 175,000 followers, and he had never tweeted a word. Gosh, wouldn't it be nice to have 175,000 people waiting on you to tweet something?
oh man, that'd be something else. That's for sure.
Well, the how bad was it in your area? I had just left the Charlotte area the Saturday before, Saturday night, thinking I was heading into a storm, and the storm actually missed me entirely. I love it. People are praying for me and sending me good wishes, and hope, asking how it is. Andy, we didn't get a drop of rain, and there wasn't enough wind to fly a kite. Here I am.
Wow.
But we were in the
Yep.
crosshairs of that thing. But
Yeah.
you write this, you do this book, The Eye of the Storm, and then you don't have a hurricane. Normally, by this time, you'd have had two or three.
Yeah, but this one, we had a lot of wind, we had a pretty good amount of rain. It was nothing compared to like what Florence was for us a few years ago, rain wise, because that one just stalled. And when it stalled, I mean, it just dumped the water. Um, but here's the ironic part, Coach. A few years ago, we used to lose power if somebody sneezed hard enough, we would lose power. So last year when generators went on sale, I told my wife, I said, we're gonna buy a generator. That way, we don't have to go days on end without power. And since we've gotten the generator, we have not lost power again. Uh, so I think that's an insurance policy, I guess,
Yeah.
or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
But we did lose the internet, and it wasn't as bad as what we really initially thought it was going to be for us, because at one point, it was looking a little dicey.
Uh-huh.
But we still had there was still some damage. There was still trees down, and but it could have been worse. Thank God it wasn't worse.
Well, it was almost the worst case scenario for Florida. I mean,
Yep.
it was only 2 miles an hour short of a Category 5, and that would it have struck where it was originally headed up in the North Florida area, in my area, that would have been bad. But there's a whole lot less population up here than there is down there, and I felt relieved in a way that we were spared, because our studio would not do well in a hurricane. It's a utility building, so it's an aluminum building, so flying debris would just probably fly right through the walls, and if a tree fell on it, I don't think it would even slow the tree down on its way. So,
Right.
so my wife and I just looked at each other and said, well, that's why we have insurance, But a lot of people are in distress, and this is a time when I tell Christians we can be at our best when things are at their worst. And that's an important message. As you alluded to, contentment has nothing to do with circumstances, whether those circumstances be good or whether they be bad. And we need to show that in times like this and reach out to our neighbors. Well, surprise, surprise, we're out of time. We got about I'll go an extra minute if you've got some closing thoughts you'd like to throw in there, because we're kind of an abbreviated session tonight.
Okay. Closing thoughts. All right. As Christians, we're called to stand out, and it's time for us to stand out. I've been pushing that message here at home, and the reason being is because when God created you and me, He didn't create us to be one of a million. He created us to be one in a million. And how you look at that is completely, it kind of changes the trajectory of your life, because we're not here to fit in. It's time that the church quits blending in with society and starts being that light, that city set on a hill that is the light that Christ called us to be.
Amen. Andy, that is well said, and I'll amplify that and say that we're in the merge lane. You can either throw on the brakes to blend in, or you can accelerate to lead. But we are in a merge lane. Time to make a decision. Andy, glad the lights didn't go blink while we did this, but appreciate you taking your time. And I was worried because you're a pastor, and I was thinking all kinds of horrible things could have happened, but it turns out it's just the internet, and hopefully by this time next month things will be on a more even keel. Appreciate you, brother.
Hopefully we'll have it fixed by then.
All right, my man, appreciate it. Andy Clapp here on pjnet.tv. Well, I'm Coach Prasick as we start a brand new week on this federal holiday, Columbus Day. Casper Stockham coming our way shortly. And I really have a lot to do. And while I'm doing that, would you contemplate a couple of questions that I contemplate from time to time? Here's the first one. What is the boldest thing that you have ever done for Jesus Christ? And second, when was that? And the challenge is to never, ever be satisfied with either answer.